Back again with one final episode of the AJHL playoff show. Brandon Ewanchyshyn from the Spruce Grove Saints alongside Nathan Crosby from the Brooks Bandits. And Nathan, here we go again for the sixth time in AJHL history. It's the Saints and the Bandits in the AJHL final. But first off, some big news for the AJHL. 8 members of the league ranked in the NHL Central Scouting final rankings for the upcoming NHL draft in Nashville. 8 guys. A very good look for the AJHL, better than some other junior leagues across the country. What do you think about the 8 guys that are hopefully going to hear their name called come June in Nashville?
Pretty cool stuff. I mean, we've seen in a few previous years and in the last, 5-10 years, 8 to 10 guys get on the rankings and, 5 of which get their names called or, it's pretty sweet to see the recognition for the league. I know from a Bandit perspective, we're super excited for Aiden Fink and Hudson Malinowski, Aiden Celebrini, Sam Court. That's great news for them, but it's not just Brooks. I mean, Ty Deneau for Drumheller, Wolfenberg in Okotoks, Kate Christensen in Sherwood Park, Morgan Brady in Spruce Grove. I think I got them all. Tremendous for the league, and congratulations to all those players. Can't wait for the draft.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Let's dive into the Brooks Bandits and how they got to the AJHL final, starting all the way back in round number 2 and then culminating with their South Division final victory over Black Falls just a week ago.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway was that division semifinal against Okotoks, I think, was a real good learning curve for this team after, like your team, not playing for a bit because of the first round bye and then going into a battle of a series against a team like Okotoks. The way the Oilers play, physical, they like to drag you down into the corners, low scoring games. That's how Okotoks is successful. And the Bandits needed to learn how to play in those type of games. So certainly was a great learning experience for the Brooks Bandits in that series against the Okotoks Oilers that went ultimately 6 games, and tip your cap to the Oilers on what they were able to do there. I mean, it was a very different South final than for the Brooks Bandits, who faced the Black Falls Bulldogs, who are just in their second year in Black Falls and have come a long way. And they finished second in the South Division this season. They beat the Calgary Canucks in the opening round. They go the distance with Drumheller in the other division semifinal, down 3-1. They come back and win that series. First team to do that since 2014. So they have to be commended for just, not going away when their backs were against the wall in that series. But you wondered about how much energy they would then have to take on Brooks in the South final. And outside of 10 minutes of game 4, the Bandits never trailed in the series. And I think that says a lot, that Brooks just too much in the South final for the Bulldogs, who had a tremendous year, but ultimately, the Bandits sweep that South final. And I thought, Ethan Barwick's been excellent in these playoffs, as he was in the regular season in the Bandit net. That line of Brendan Poshak, Kalen Fitzpatrick, Heath Armstrong, man, they've been money in these playoffs. Aiden Fink, Hudson Malinowski, Hunter Wallace had a great series against Black Falls. Hunter Wallace scored a hat trick in the game 4 clinching game, which was great to see. But then you're also the defense, I think, has really stepped up for Brooks as well. Guys like Ethan Byer and Huey Hooker, Sam Court, Celebrini, who we mentioned on the rankings. So congratulations to them. A quick South final, and they'll be well rested for the league final.
With that, we'll head to Bandit captain Dario Belgio and get his thoughts on the race so far in the upcoming championship series.
Here with Bandits captain Dario Belgium, looking back at the South final against Black Falls. Dario, what was the takeaway?
I'm really happy we got the job done in 4 games because the extra rest this time of the year is huge. So, we're happy about it, but obviously moving on to Spruce Grove now.
Looking back at the playoffs as a whole, what's the takeaway for this team?
Yeah, I think it's great. We ran into Okotoks in the first round and kind of went through some adversity early on. They took us to 6 games, and I think that just taught us that the playoffs are completely different from the regular season. So it was good to get that challenge early on, and I think we've learned from it and done well since.
The rest, I mean, the team hasn't played since April 12th, getting ready for this league final, but you've known at Spruce Grove for a few days now. What's the mood around the team heading into this?
Yeah, I think everybody's super excited for this opportunity. This is kind of what you play for all year, is these moments. And especially for me being a returning guy, that was very special memories for me last year playing Spruce Grove. It's a great time, so I'm excited to make some more memories here.
Good segue into my next question. You were here last year in this series when Brooks played Spruce Grove. For the new Bandits that have never experienced this before, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I remember last year, I think we were a little nervous going into game one and kind of got the best of us. They really took it to us. But after that, we kind of came out like we had nothing to lose, and things seemed to work really well for us. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing is obviously the intensity and everything has to be there, but not to overthink it too much. Just got to go out and do what we've done all year.
Dario, great job and good luck in the series.
Yeah, thank you.
Bandits captain Dario Belgium.
Thanks to Bandits captain Dario Beljo for taking some time to talk to us just ahead of this league final. Of course, he was on the Bandits last year when they faced the Saints in the championship series. Spruce Grove Saints, of course, many returning players on that team from last year's North Division Championship roster. Brandon, let's talk about how the Saints got here. First in the North Division again in the regular season. Then in the second round, Sherwood Park, and then the North Final, Bonnyville. None of their series went longer than 5 games. Just take us through this playoff run for the Saints.
Yeah, I think the amount of games that the series took maybe weren't an accurate indication of how close the series were. It speaks volumes, obviously, to the Spruce Grove Saints and how they were able to get the job done. But Sherwood Park, they played Spruce Grove very hard throughout the series. Eric Roos was fantastic in net. They're led up front by Carmelo Crandall, and we already talked about their head coach and your former coworker and Evan McFeeters, who showed very well in his first ever playoff series as a head coach. And then you move on to Bonnyville, which was last round in the North Final. And again, a team that has a wonderful coach and lots of scoring. You got Mateo Giampa, Nico Bodwin, Jack Butt on the back end. You got a runner-up to make the World Junior A team in Bodie Weiss in between the pipes. So no slouch of a team in Bonnyville. The Saints did get it done again in 5 games. I think the depth scoring, not only, I guess, in the Bonnyville series, but throughout the playoffs, has been very good for the Spruce Grove Saints. Every player, has a point on the roster right now. Luigi Benincasa, he leads the team with 11, but everybody at least has 1 point. And the goaltending as well was interesting in this series. Zach Onescu, he goes down with a lower body injury in overtime of game 1, and we're all sitting there like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? Jamison Kane comes in. He plays the rest of overtime. He plays well. He gets the Saints to win there. Isaac Abbott scoring the winner in game 1 in overtime. He gets the win in game 2. I'm going to say game 2 was probably the most lopsided game of the series. The Saints scored 4 consecutive power play goals from the second to third period and finished off with a 6-2 victory. Kane then plays game 3. I think that's one where Spruce Grove would like to have back. Didn't have a great start in Bonnyville. Things didn't really go their way in terms of bounces and reffing and everything like that. That's the one that they did lose. Game 4, I think, was the turning point in the series. Bram Steven goes with Spencer Michnik in between the pipes. He's a Seattle draft pick in the Western Hockey League draft. He's an 06 from Sylvan Lake, and he was thrown into the fire playing his first ever postseason AJHL game. He shows well. He got lucky a couple times, but nobody cares about that. He made 25 stops for his first ever win in his first ever game. Ethan Cronowit in 05 from Stony Plain, just down the road from Spruce Grove, scores 2 huge goals in game 4. The first one and then the game winner to propel the Saints to a 3-1 series lead. Then they go back home to Spruce Grove in front of a packed Grant Fiorina. They get it done in overtime. It was a hard-fought game throughout. Ethan Lair, a bit of a storybook ending there. A guy who started his junior career in Bonnyville as a 16-year-old, manages to get things done in overtime just a couple minutes in. And the Spruce Grove Saints, again, the North Division champions. So all in all, it's been a heck of a run and a fun ride so far for the Spruce Grove Saints, their staff, fans, everybody involved. And we'll see how things fare here against the Mighty Brooks Bandits once again.
Well, it's time now to hear from the Saints captain, Luigi Benincasa.
Alongside Captain Luigi Benincasa, just take us up to this point so far, the playoff run that you guys have had.
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of hard-fought series. Sherwood Park and Bonnyville, those are both really good teams. So just a couple of hard-fought series.
What do you think the toughest part was in shutting down Bonnyville?
Yeah, I think when you look at their roster, they got Giampa, Funk, Baudouin. They got a lot of offense, even Bud on the back end. So they got a lot of offense, a lot of speed. So just we just kind of stuck to our game plan and just that kind of worked for it.
Can you describe the moment to all the viewers on the bench when you saw Ethan Lair score the OT winner in Game 5 last week?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's really exciting, and you get that feeling that you're going back to the finals again. So it was a really exciting moment.
Let's talk about the finals. Brooks, once again, the 6th time in AJHL history. You're 1-1 against them in the regular season. What do you expect this year in the finals?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another really hard-fought series. They're a fast team, and they're really good offensively. So just making sure we just stick to our game plan, play our game, and play good defensively.
Is there a different feel this year going into it than maybe years past?
I don't think so. I think it's obviously with the new team, it obviously makes that feel a little bit different. But I think I guess also in a way, I think the series that we played, I feel like this year, Bonnyville and Sherwood, they were a little bit harder fought series. So I think in a way that's a little bit different. But I think going into it, it feels the same.
Let's talk about the goaltending real quick as well. Unfortunate news for Zach Onescu. He goes down. Maybe he'll come back this series. Maybe he won't. We don't know yet. Jamison Kane and Spencer Mitchink, the 2 guys now. Mitchink winning the last 2 games. What have you seen from the youngster?
Yeah, he's been really good. Yeah, he's a big goalie. So I think even in practice he's been really good. So he filled that role really good.
In your final year of junior hockey, your final run at it, how much would it mean to you to take this home?
It mean a lot. It mean a lot to me.
Appreciate this, Lou, and good luck in the finals.
Thank you.
Thanks to Luigi Benincasa, captain of the Spruce Grove Saints, for taking some time to join us. And here we go once again for the 6th time in AJHL history. It's the Saints and the Bandits. We'll see you down there on Friday, and there's going to be no new champion. It's going to be the Saints and the Bandits again. Nobody else has won since 2009, and I believe it was the Grand Prairie Storm who knocked the Saints off many years ago. What can you expect this year in this year's edition of the final?
Yeah, it's become a springtime tradition seeing the Bandits and the Saints, and I think the best rivalry in Junior A, certainly over the last 12 to 13 years with the head-to-heads, as you said, 6 league finals between the Bandits and the Saints. I think we are going to see a terrific goaltending matchup. That's really something that we'll be watching for. We know who the Bandits will be starting Game 1 on Friday night at the CRA. Spruce Grove, an interesting situation, as you covered earlier, with Zach Onescu leaving in that first overtime game there against Bonnyville. You got the affiliate in Mitchkin, and of course Jamison Kane, who I think was 2nd in wins this year in the AJHL. So it's going to be an interesting goalie dynamic in this series. That's one thing that will be keyed in on. And I think which of the veteran players on both sides, many of whom were in this league final last year and got to be in that pressure situation, large crowds, the intensity, how they can elevate their teams is something else that I think I'll be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the season series doesn't get much closer. 1-1, Brooks winning at home, Spruce Grove winning at home. Spruce Grove, they got the league's best power play right now in the postseason. The Bandits, they got the best postseason penalty kills. So a lot of things are very even across the board. You know, these 2 coaches, they've done battle many times before. We'll see who can have the extra edge when the chips are down. But I think you're correct. It ultimately comes down to which of the team's top players can step up in the big moments and ultimately get the job done. It's hard to predict. It's going to be fun. Once again, I can't wait to get things started this weekend.
Going to be a lot of fun, and I agree. It's a great coaching matchup as well. Ryan Papuano of the Bandits, Bram Stephen of the Saints. This is a great rivalry that these 2 teams have. It's going to be exciting hockey. The crowds, not just in Brooks and Spruce Grove, have been fantastic across the league in these playoffs. So thank you, fans. Looking forward to having them in both locations here in this league final.